Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and today we're talking another boss guide. This boss, honestly, was the first one that absolutely handed my ass to me on a platter. Absolutely obliterated me, probably twice. So I wouldn't be surprised if some other players have a little bit of a difficult time. It's honestly a really easy boss fight as long as you have the right strategy. But the first time you go into a boss fight, you have no idea what to expect. The second time for me is usually I have a strategy, but in this case, it just didn't work. And then the third time, boom, I handled it very, very easily. So we're going to go over my team. You guys can take a screenshot of this if you don't want to use this inside of combat. It's really annoying to use an action in combat to identify an enemy, in my opinion. I don't like doing it, so I always do it on my first time through, and then I go in with the knowledge. So highlights here: resistant to all status elements. That's fine. Weakness to Zam, is it Zam? Z-A-M? Because Zam to me sounds like electricity, but I'm the wind. And you can see here they are all flipping. This is a physical monster. They are going to beat the crap out of you. So no dampeners are really going to work for you, except for physical dampeners, which I would recommend using if you have them. I did not use them because because you can't buy them in the store, I don't want to use them because if a player gets here and they don't have them, I don't want the guide to be completely irrelevant to them, basically, right? So this is something that I did without physical dampeners. However, the fight will be more consistent and easier. If you're having a really hard time, get a couple physical dampeners. There's some throughout the world. Sometimes you can get them random drops. Just save them because they're rare and then use them on tough boss fights. As I think we have a tool coming up at a higher level that will help us out a lot. So let's take a quick look at my team, exactly what I did. Really quick base strategy here is going to be the same with a lot of bosses. We're just bursting her down. However, instead of using a dampener to prevent the damage, we're just going to tank the damage. But in order to prevent her from just killing everything outright, we are going to be using a jockey type monster. We're going to be using the Omegaguri, the super attack to lower all of her stats down to rock bottom. That way, because she has pretty high agility too, not insanely high, but I missed her a lot, so it made it so you don't miss her, you do increase damage, and she doesn't kill you. It's insanely powerful of a ultimate. And this is one of the fights where I actually think it's better than critical, because critical just makes you deal more damage, but that doesn't help if she absolutely obliterates you. So let's go in here. So my starting team is actually going to be here. It's going to be Gremlin. It doesn't have to be Gremlin, right? It's anything that's a jockey. All right, there's the guy with the two swords is also that. I just have Gremlin because I like Gremlin and I needed him to fuse with something. I don't remember. He was in my party, so I just used him. And we're going to be using the Feast. You get this from an earlier quest in the game. I believe that you get this from the first zone when you go and talk to the jockey guy by the diet building, I believe. I don't remember exactly. This isn't a guide for that. But if you explore the first area, it is in there. Lowers all stats to the minimum for all foes. Only one foe, but that's still good. So this doesn't take a turn. So I have him open with this. He uses it. And then I immediately have him switch out for Lien Sidhi. Now, she was going to be an important part of this build, but it just didn't really end up working out that way. Really, these are the characters I have Zanma on. Try to get some pretty good stats, like high magic and some Zanma, and you're going to be doing pretty good. My original idea was going to be using Burden of Talent to get status effects, to get Toxic Spray off. That way I could use Venom Chaser, but it just didn't end up working out. It just ended up being better just to exploit weakness again and again in this fight because her resistance was pretty high. So most of these abilities are irrelevant. She's just going to use Zanma pretty much every single action. So what character is here doesn't matter. The only reason why I have it set up the way I do, and I have arrows here, is the Force Enhancer is actually super important for my team because she has a -3 on the skill potency, and this will actually bring her up to a +6. Sorry. It gives her +6. Brings her up to a +3, which is a 6-point difference. So that makes her basically just as good as anybody else. She gets to cast more spells for more damage instead of being very, very weak. -3 is a wet noodle. So I have arrows here, but this is pretty flexible. The main idea is here, you're going to Zanma, and then on my flex spot here, I do like having media in my flex spot because in this fight specifically, we are tanking damage. So we even though she's unlikely to kill someone outright, we are going to need to be healing at least once between rounds. Like, not on the first go around probably, but on the second go around, you're going to want to use some sort of AoE healing. So I like using media here. And then this is one of my favorite characters in the game. She has 2 insanely good abilities. One, a unique one. It's an almighty HP drain attack, so it's a self-heal, and it lowers attack by 1 rank for 3 turns. It's not the most insane ability, I guess I admit, but I really like it. But also, then she has Toxic Spray. I just like having these both on the same character early on. Chance of inflicting poison, and it lowers defense by 1 rank. So no matter what's happening, you're still getting a good effect. I'll admit, it's not as good as dealing additional damage with Jack Frost and lowering their defense. That's one of the most crazy abilities in the game. But in a situation like this, where we're mostly using Zanma anyway, and we wouldn't be using Jack Frost's other ability, it is kind of nice to have these more supporty abilities here. So basically, she's probably the most important character on the team, arguably, because she's Zanma's for decent damage, because she has really good magic. Then when the boss's debuffs are getting ready to fall off, she will, with one of her turns, refresh the attack down, the most important, and then you could refresh the defense down if you want, or you could just go for more damage or for a heal. I'd probably lower her attack again, go for a heal, and then start going for the defense down after that. Eros is here because he does pretty decent damage. It's fine, but mostly here for the Force Enhancer to increase her -3 up to +3. And then the Nahabino, the main boy, Perpy boy here, he's basically going to do what he does every combat for every game. He's going to use very powerful physical attacks. I do like having Sengeki here. Not Sengeki. Sakanagi here. Medium strength based almighty attack. It's unique to the character. It's pretty darn powerful. But it's not insane. I actually think if you're at full HP, I think it's actually weak than like the heavy blow or whatever. There's the one that's like, if you're at full HP, it's a heavy attack. But this is almighty, so nothing ever resists it. So it's pretty good just to have on there. Now you could switch these flex spots if you want, like this, and you could have Perpy as someone that can't exploit weaknesses. In my situation, have Miracle Water. That way, maybe the first go around you deal damage, second go around you use Miracle Water. I think that's something that's super viable. Other than that, that's basically the team. Gremlin in the first, having a jockey character in the first, use Feast. And then we're going to just Zan. Basically, it's Zan, strong physical, Zan, heal, Zan, physical. And then after the second round, then we're going to replace one of these 2 characters, either Mana or Perpy, with a heal. And that's basically it. I'll go ahead and show you the fight after this. Guys, hope you enjoyed this. And let me know what bosses you've got stuck on. I'm just going to make one of these for every boss that I consider an actual boss as we go through. I was going to do one for Lamu, but one, I accidentally saved over it. But 2, it just wasn't hard enough. So it was a first attempt without any preparation, and that usually isn't a sign of a boss. This is a boss. It was a very fun fight. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting to mess with my team a little bit and try a strategy that I haven't had to try on a boss yet, which is really kind of all I want out of a JRPG, is being able to experiment and use the mechanics to tackle challenges. Anyway, much love. Purplatypus. See you in the next one. Bye! Now we're going to Zanma. We shouldn't be missing anymore, which will be really good. I could just try to poison her, but I don't know if that's likely. So we got her about a quarter down on the first turn. She did hit both of her attacks, but like, look how much weaker that is. And it's so much easier to hit her now. Like, we're way less likely to actually get dodged. I think we go for immediate here just to be safe. Try to keep everyone topped off. There we go, about halfway. Scary, but not too bad. I think we... I think this one's more important to refresh her attack down. He did do his Zanma, that's good. The defense down is nice, but it's not that important. Where I think we just media instead. Yeah, and then we'll do the attack down next turn. Media is pretty good, especially if she's going to use a Magatushi here. I didn't actually count to get this much more damage in. I thought one of these, because then we could use Miracle Water, but it was a little risky to try that. Miss! Alright, well that's GG. We have a much higher chance to miss now, though. This guy has really low agility as well, so he's like, I feel like he has a 20% miss chance, just like straight up. There we go. Just like that. Not too bad at all. You just got to get real aggressive and keep their stats low. No physical dampener needed. Although, I think if you didn't want to do the jockey thing and try to burst her down ASAP, 2 physical dampeners would probably make the fight super easy, with the exception of the 1 pierce attack she has, but that's likely not till turn 3 at the earliest, so I think it'd be totally fine there.